Hello everyone, welcome back. So a lot of interesting things have happened while I was gone. Command got a couple of updates. I already noticed a few things that look very interesting. Today I want to show you like a little bit of experimentation with the Russian Zircon missile, which is a hypersonic cruise missile, which is actually available in Command, or is modeled in Command. Of course, the accuracy is always a little bit difficult when it comes to these very modern and probably prototype level weapons. But yeah, let's check them out. So just as a quick recap, and I'm pretty sure many of you are well aware of this, when it comes to hypersonic weapons concepts, the determining factor isn't strictly that they move at hypersonic speeds. Many ballistic missiles are hypersonic when they re-enter the atmosphere. That doesn't really count, at least not in that stricter sense. Generally, you want something that can move at hypersonic speeds and also to a degree maneuver, or like is able to precisely hit targets. And there are two general principles that have been pursued lately. One of which is the idea of a hypersonic cruise missile. This is something the United States have been very interested in, but they don't even, like, I'm not aware that they have tested any serious prototypes yet. Might be wrong though. And yeah, then there's of course the Russian Zircon missile, which is apparently in some state of operational completeness. So it has been used in Ukraine apparently, but they're very likely still prototypes. And then, of course, we have on the right side the boost glide vehicle, which is basically a ballistic missile where you shoot your projectile up, but instead of having it follow a ballistic arc, you just have it shoot through the atmosphere, and you have like a projectile that is actually sturdy enough to survive the kinds of temperatures and that will occur at these speeds. This is something the Chinese have been very interested in, and they also already apparently have some operational missiles, probably also prototype-ish, mostly for anti-shipping or for delivery of nuclear warheads. But yeah, today we want to take a look at the cruise missile side of things. So this is where we're heading. Taking a quick look at the Russian Zircon. So first tests allegedly occurred in 2020. It's supposed to be integrated on the modern Russian frigates and some submarines, but also apparently can be ground launched, or at least that's what is suspected for the ones that were used in Ukraine. And yes, it is a cruise missile with a scramjet. So the idea is if you want a cruise missile to move at Mach 5+, you need an engine that is air-breathing and can propel you at these speeds. In that case, this would be a scramjet, which operates at Mach 5+. Ramjets, of course, are in that high supersonic range, and turbofans are when you're subsonic and you actually need to compress your air with a fan, essentially. Of course, they don't work at slower speeds, so you have to strap a rocket motor to them and get them up to their operational speed before they can function. So yeah, it's often touted that they have like a range of 1,000 kilometers. The more realistic figure I've seen is like up to 300 nautical miles, which would be 500 to 600 kilometers. And you can apparently extend the range a little bit if you give it like a semi-ballistic trajectory instead of having it cruise all the way. When you cruise it all the way, it's probably more like 200 to 250 nautical miles. But yeah, no one knows for sure. In the end, a lot of this stuff is a lot of the information you will get online are based on propaganda and stuff like that. But yeah, but still, it's apparently a missile that exists and has been produced to some extent and apparently works. So what does it look like in Command? So for the purpose of this video, we have put a Gorshkov frigate, like the Admiral Sergei Gorshkov, over here off the coast of Norway, and we have armed it with a couple of Zircon missiles. So in Command, they give it like a range of 700 nautical miles. That is, again, probably not realistic when unless you shoot it at a ballistic trajectory and the weather, or like the weather conditions are particularly good. But yeah, so what can it theoretically hit? Let's see. So if we go for the 700 nautical miles, then we're easily in range of Berlin in this case, which is of course on purpose because Berlin is going to be the target we're attacking. What else would it be? And yeah, if we're talking more like 250 to 300, then yeah, you would have to get very close to the shores to be able to actually hit it. So that's not really realistic. Okay, so that's basically the attacking side. Oh, again, we're not gonna fire full salvo of 8. That is probably not. Like, these things are crazy expensive, and they probably won't even have many of them in storage. And in this case, we're gonna fire 4, which I think is already pretty excessive. Yeah, okay. Let's see what the defending side looks like. So for the defenders, I basically just pulled a couple of assets from northern Germany. Should more or less realistically position the different radar sites that they still have, and some air traffic control radars. We have the 2nd Frigate Squadron over here with all 4 frigates, and the 1st Corvette Squadron with 3 corvettes. All of them have radar active. Let's see. What else do we have? We have Lage Air Base, which hosts a couple of Eurofighters, and 2 of them are actually ready to intercept and are on like a generic opportunity intercept mission, essentially. So if they can see and engage something, they will get airborne and haul their collective asses over there to shoot down whatever it is that they have detected. Okay. Looking at the target, so the target is, yeah, it's maybe like not exactly a cool name, but it's Target 1. It's a large leadership compound over here, and it is protected, of course, again by our Patriot site. The Patriot site has had all the PAC-2 missiles taken out because the AI generally like, it does weird things, since the PAC-2 has a longer range and may not be perfectly suited to attack a certain target. It will shoot the PAC-2s and then satisfy its missile per target requirement, and then the PAC-3s are not going to launch. So yeah, that's the reasoning for that. We have 16 PAC-3s in here. That means maximum of 4 missiles per target. Spoiler alert, we're not going to use, not going to need as many. They're still like set to 2 rounds. So it will define the supersonic threats as non-cooperative target, not even extremely difficult. Okay, anything else? No, I think that's pretty much it. So let's see how it goes. Okay, then I think we're set, and we shall hit the start button. Move time forward a little bit. 7 minutes should be fine. Okay, so what do we expect here? Generally, I mean, the idea of defending with just a meager little Patriot site against one of these super cool new hypersonic weapons that are supposed to be unbeatable. Sounds a little bit odd, right? But let's see how it goes. We'll just select our target 1, Zircon. Yes, I want all of them, and yeah, that should be it once. There they come. So the missiles will be in their initial boost phase, where the rocket motor will bring them up to altitude and speed, so that the scramjet can take over. So one thing you might be noticing immediately, this thing is going quite high. In fact, it's still climbing, and it's already at like 80,000 feet. This is very different from what you would expect a normal cruise missile to do, right? Generally, you would expect them to stay very close to the ground and be like terrain following. These hypersonic cruise missiles are apparently not doing that. And yeah, we'll come back to that in a moment. When we're checking the current speed, we're actually at Mach 8, which is pretty damn fast. And let's see, it's still climbing, still climbing, still climbing. Let's see. Still climbing above 12,000 feet. Maybe we can speed it up like a tiny little bit. Yeah, okay, it might hit like 13,000, but I think it has more or less reached its cruise altitude. Yes, there we are, 13,000 feet. That is like, I believe, at least 4 to 5 times higher than your average cruise liner, right? So that is pretty damn high. Also notice that the time to target, which I really, really like this little timer over here, is just 5 minutes, which is, yeah, that is pretty fast. So, yeah, I guess we'll just switch over to the German side and see what they can see. So switching on God mode over here, this is where the missiles are. If you switch over to, of course, they cannot really see them. At these speeds, the missiles will be surrounded by plasma, which also shields them from radar detection. Of course, it makes them pretty well visible with infrared and stuff like that. But then again, they are at like a crazy high altitude. You might be able to see them like in the basically similar to like a meteor in the far distance. But yeah, I guess no one really knows what it would look like. So let's see if we can detect them with our radars, which it should already be pretty well in range. Like all the ships have active radar, and we have the active radar stations. Let's speed up time a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. Still no detection, still no detection, still no detection. Yes, so this is basically working as expected. So we have these projectiles streaking over the countryside, and no one can see them because they're basically invisible to radar. They should pop up as soon as they get closer to the ground. Let's see. There they come. It's not much longer now. There they are. Okay, who's picking them up? It's the Patriot radar. And you can see here they're already in the descent phase. And now let's see what Patriot will do to tackle this little issue that is coming towards us. So Patriot is firing its interceptors. Let's see if they can hit anything. There we go. And plop. Okay. That didn't look too difficult at all. Let's see if that was maybe just a fluke, and just run the simulation a couple more times. Yeah, it does seem pretty consistent at this point. Okay, so why is this happening? Is this realistic? Is Command just not modeling it correctly? Let's take a little bit of a closer look at the flight profile of the missile. So over here we have it again, like during its cruise phase, and as you can see here, it actually does have its advertised speed of close to Mach 8 at an altitude of 130,000 feet. And yes, it actually has this speed over here, but it cannot like go closer to the ground, because closer to the ground the atmosphere will be too thick. It needs to be at a pretty high altitude to maintain this kind of speed. That also means once it is in its descent phase, which let's scroll time a little bit. See, at some point it should start its descent. Yes, there we are. So this is the moment where the seatbelt sign would light up. For now, it's still at like Mach 8, of course. Since it's going to be plunging down, it's also going to gain speed from losing altitude. But yeah, that only works for a while, right? We're already at like 90,000. This is like, we're getting close to the altitude where you can actually have like U2s or other like high altitude planes. But yes, the altitude, the atmosphere is going to get thicker and thicker, and we will start to shed speed. And that should happen here in just a moment. Let's see. Okay, so now we're approaching 30,000 feet, which is basically where your airliners would be. And as you can see here, we're now quickly shedding. We're quickly shedding speed here. We're down to Mach 6. Now approaching Mach 5. So we're almost on the verge of going just below hypersonic speeds. And there come the interceptors, and now the missiles start dying. So if we just quickly bring up our trusty old sketch image again from like about atmosphere and altitudes, you can see for a hypersonic cruise missile like the Zircon, most of the time during the cruise phase you would be somewhere over here, like around 50 kilometers above the ground. And here you have your Mach 8. Once you come down close to the surface, you're gonna be Mach 5 or even below. It is also an advantage for you since the plasma that's surrounding the projectile will blind it, so it will not be able to have IR seekers or radar seekers, because the plasma which shields you from radar detection will also shield you from seeing things around you. Same goes for the IR, because yes, you'll be surrounded by hot plasma, which is not easy to see through. So once you're over here, you will slow down considerably. It's not something you do voluntarily, right? It's like if you plunge down here, the atmosphere is so thick that drag will become massive. And yes, you will be able to see again, but then, of course, if you look at it from like a SAM point of view, this thing doesn't, like, it's not much different from like an intermediate or medium range ballistic missile, right? When they come down, they also have like a speed of maybe like Mach 5, Mach 6, maybe even less. And while the Patriot is not exactly suitable to engage things that are at hypersonic speeds, it is totally capable and also in part designed to engage things like medium-range ballistic missiles, right? So something that looks more or less like a medium-range ballistic missile when it comes down is something that Patriot can absolutely engage, and all successfully. And yeah, if you think about a THAAD, of course, a THAAD would probably eat this for breakfast, right? Okay, so if even like a good old Patriot can intercept these fancy and super expensive new missiles, why bother at all, right? So is it just complete nonsense to build something like this? Well, it does have advantages, and some of them I have listed here. Like one of the big advantages, well, is speed, right? So and this is also something that if you listen to people from the US side of things, their justification why they might actually employ or like field some of these weapons is because they can service something that is short term, essentially. So if we take our little Gorshkov here and we shoot, it's still not ready to fire, 1 second, there we go. So we fire a Zircon, and we fire a good old caliber missile, like the cruise missile, and let's see. And there they come. We take the Zircon. What's the time to impact? About 10 minutes. So at this range, again, it's like a little bit debatable if it could actually go that far, but let's imagine that it could. Then you could fire your missile at the target that would be there within 10 to 15 minutes, right? take the caliber for as a comparison, it's gonna take an hour to get there. So imagine there's like some kind of important target, maybe like an important personality, making a stop somewhere, and your spies see them, and yes, they will only stop there for a couple of minutes, maybe. You don't know how long exactly. The crew, like the Zircon, would have like a chance, right? It can be there within just 10 minutes. A caliber cruise missile takes an hour, so no chance. It will be gone, long gone by then. So this is definitely one of the big advantages. Secondly, and this is also very important, I think, is you cannot intercept it with fighter jets. And this is also something that I think is important to note when it comes to these big cruise missile barrages and drone strikes that happen more or less daily in Ukraine. They kind of need to have air defense wherever they want to defend a target from that. Over here in NATO territory, you could just have your jets hunt them down, and that is actually something that works quite well. So we're firing our caliber cruise missiles over here at target number 2, which is out of Patriot range. And yeah, we didn't give them like a different flight path this time. They'll probably get detected pretty quick. Let's see how this goes. There they go. And our jets have already launched. There they are. They have reacquired them over here. The air traffic control probably picked them up. No, it was the groundmaster. This one, apparently. Okay, let's see. Time to hunt some missiles. Yes, this time they got them. And plop. Oh, come on, hit them. Here we go. Smack. Smack, last one. There we go. Excellent. Thank you, guys. So if we do the same thing with a Zircon, the result is pretty predictable, right? So we'll just fire a single one here. There we go. It's gonna launch. It will scoot all over the radars without being detected. And then it's just gonna smack the target unopposed. Smack. With something like the Zircon, this doesn't work, right? So you can't even really see it while it's in cruise phase, and even if you can detect it, it's so high up that you kind of need something like anti-ballistic missile defense to be theoretically able to hit it. But then again, it's also not exo-atmospheric, so you can't really, or you probably can't use things like SM3. Which give you like a bit of a wider dome of protection. So yeah, it hits this sweet spot of being quite annoying to deal with. Of course, you're paying pretty high price for that. And then thirdly, of course, there's the anti-shipping role that most of these things are designed for, actually. And when it comes to anti-shipping, kinetic energy is like the thing that is most important for the efficacy. And something that moves at close to Mach 5 during impact packs a hell of a lot more kinetic energy than something that is just subsonic. So yeah. So I hope you found this little experimentation interesting. I certainly did, and yeah, I hope to see you for the next one. See you later.